And then there were 4. 3 of the best QBs in the game today. And Brock Purdy, who I'm not quite sure is a master just yet.
How can you be on the council and not be a master?
But he could be. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. It's the final power rankings of the 2022-2023 NFL season. I'm gonna miss you, random arbitrary number ranking system, Grossi. And today we are going to be ranking the final 4 teams heading into Championship Sunday. And some surprises here, but I think a lot of us can agree that we are going to see some phenomenal games this Sunday. I mean, the NFC, you got the 2 best. You got the 49ers taking on the Eagles. And for the AFC, I know a lot of people wanted to see Bills and Chiefs, including the 50,000 people that bought tickets. But the kitty cat going to take on Patrick Mahomes, who is now a Pirate. And that's how I'm going to refer to him as, because he only has one leg, in Kansas City. It's going to be one hell of a game. And for the Bills, they really felt like a team of destiny. I've been bringing it up. I ranked them at 5 last week that I just saw some flaws in their game. And now you got Stephon Diggs being upset at the end of the game. And I just imagine Bill Belichick is sitting there watching that and thinking,
use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
Don't go to the dark side, Diggs. Don't go. But let's rank these 4 teams, and I promise you there's going to be some controversy already, because at number 4, I'm putting the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know, listen.
Move this man.
Listen, stop throwing the tomatoes. Just hold on. Just hold on. The reason I'm throwing the Chiefs here is simply because of Patrick Mahomes' injury. I know he's going to play through it. I know he's going to chop off his leg if he needs to, and he's just going to throw something metal on there, and he's still going to be able to be successful. But hear me out. The Chiefs at number 4 makes sense to me because not only is Patrick Mahomes dealing with a high ankle sprain, and that is going to be a problem. You saw him get hurt early on in the Jacksonville game, and he was hobbling on one leg for the second half of that game. Still was effective, but the mobility was greatly reduced. I imagine with an additional week, things should feel a little bit better, but taking away even a little bit of mobility from Patrick Mahomes is going to make a difference. And Patrick Mahomes did not want to come out of that game. Andy Reid said, you're going to get an x-ray or you're not going in.
I have spoken.
But the Chiefs still put on a dominant performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars just showed that they weren't there quite yet. They just didn't take advantage of opportunities, whether it was the drop ball by Christian Kirk, whether it was the dropped interception when Chad Henne was in, and they just didn't get things going. And of course, they fumbled at the end of that game. So a good season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the Chiefs, their defense was solid. Their offensive line was kind of the star of the show. The Jacksonville defensive line has been kind of wishy-washy all season, but the Chiefs offensive line did a really nice job protecting an immobile Patrick Mahomes, and they needed to. And so they were able to lean on the ground game a little bit. But of course, this came down to Travis Kelce absolutely tearing it up. Had 2 touchdowns on the day, had 14 receptions, nearly 100 yards, and he just took over the game. Now, why am I ranking them at 4 besides the injury? There are some concerns there. I do think that the Bengals, who have beaten them earlier this year, and of course beat them last year, can take advantage of Patrick Mahomes being a bit banged up. On top of that, I think their pass rush should be able to get after Patrick Mahomes a bit more than the Jaguars were. And more importantly, I just think the Bengals are a really damn good team right now. They went into Buffalo, no problem, defeated the Bills in a freaking just impressive showing there. And I think the quality of the competition that the Bengals played in the Bills was a little bit higher than what the Chiefs played in the Jaguars. And so it's nothing really against the Chiefs entirely. I just think that the Bengals are a better team right now. And both NFC opponents are just a little bit more closer to one another in terms of competition. So that means the Chiefs fall down to 4, watch them win and go to the Super Bowl, which I don't doubt in any way, shape, or form. But right now, Chiefs, you're sitting at 4. Number 3, you got the San Francisco 49ers. Woo! Close game for the 49ers as they were able to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. And after Dak had one of his best games ever last week against the Buccaneers, the 49ers defense was causing some malfunctions.
All right, stand by, Dak.
Oh, Luke, we've got a malfunction in fire control.
And if you're a Cowboys fan, man, first of all, I'm sorry. But two, I just don't know how you're feeling. You watched them run a dumbass play last year in the wild card round against the 49ers, in which they run out of time. And then this year, you top it by setting Zeke at center, who gets bulldozed, and you throw a pass that barely makes it 10 yards. And I have to imagine fans watching that are just thinking,
don't do that again.
But the 49ers played a very solid football game. They didn't get away from what has been working all season. Even though the first half, they really didn't have control of that game. They didn't really look that great. Brock Purdy was getting pressured. The offensive line of the 49ers really didn't look that great, going up against a great pass rush from the Dallas Cowboys. But in the second half, they stuck with running the ball. They got nearly 90 yards on the ground, and that helped them seal the game. They just waited for Dak to make mistakes, which he did. And as I've said, in order to beat the 49ers, you either have to get out early and score a bunch of points, or you have to be able to take advantage of their secondary, but that means your offensive line needs to be blocking really, really well. So Brock Purdy played fine, played adequate, again, under a lot of pressure, but their skill players like George Kittle made a phenomenal catch, and they were able to put themselves over the top, taking advantage of Dallas's mistakes and winning that ball game. Why are they at number 3? Because I don't want to say they got exposed last week, but I think that really, really close game just gave, again, a blueprint on how you beat the 49ers. And I think the Eagles are a team that can take advantage of that. They have so many weapons. They can run the ball really efficiently. And considering Tony Pollard got hurt and that took away a huge part of Dallas's game plan, as long as guys like Miles Sanders stay healthy, the Eagles have a great shot at running the ball effectively against the 49ers. So the 49ers, they are one game away once again from going to the Super Bowl. They made it to the NFC Championship game last season. They most definitely could make it to the Super Bowl this year because they are a phenomenal team. They're such a well-run organization. I hate that I'm complimenting them so much, but they're sitting at number 3 just because I think the Eagles not only have that great defense, they also have that high-powered offense that can contend with the 49ers, and I think it's going to be a really, really close game, but I'm giving the Eagles a tiny bit of an edge, and that's why they're above the 49ers. So at number 2, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, absolutely demolishing the New York Giants. And I know Nick Sirianni standing there on the sideline, not only saying that he knows what he's effing doing, but just watching the Eagles beat the Giants for the 3rd time this year. He's got to be thinking,
This is the way.
And it was. You saw very, very quickly that the Giants were not equipped to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, they had a close Week 18 game in which the Giants had their backups in. Jalen Hurts was still injured. But Jalen Hurts with a week off, who still is playing a little bit sore, did not look like it at all. They ran the ball effectively. All their weapons were out. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Goddard. They were just firing on all cylinders. The defense was playing well and not allowing the Giants really to do anything there. And this game was never close. And this is how the Eagles can play. This is how good they can be. Now, you are having 2 phenomenal teams go against each other in the 49ers and the Eagles. I'm really excited to see how that defense of the 49ers is going to contend with the high-flying offense of the Eagles and vice versa. It's going to be a lot of fun to just watch these 2 teams square off. I think the home field advantage is definitely going to help the Eagles a bit, though the 49ers have no problem defeating teams who are based in cold weather. But if the Eagles play like they did last Saturday, they should be able to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. And so because of that, I'm putting them at number 2. And finally, at number 1, might be a little controversial, but I'm going to be putting the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know that you can make an argument for any of these other teams to be at the number 1 spot, especially a team like the Eagles, considering how well they did. But I'm putting the Bengals up here for a couple of reasons. 1, they didn't look that great in the wild card, but their defense stepped up, right? And they were going up against a good defense and a power running game. So that's 1. 2, they have put together a phenomenal win streak, and it's only second to the San Francisco 49ers right now. And 3, they went in to Buffalo, in which they were not favored. On top of that, it was snowy. And on top of that, everything favored the Bills. The storylines and talking about the pressure, the atmosphere. And yet, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals walked into Buffalo and took care of them no problem. Their defense played really well. Their offense was efficient. They ran the ball well. On top of that, Joe Burrow, his offensive line is so bad, but he's just so damn good. How?
He can see things before they happen. That's why he appears to have such quick reflexes.
Regardless, Joe Burrow, he's got ice in the veins, and man, it was just an impressive showing to watch. And I feel like the Bengals are nobody's underdog. And so they're now going into KC, a place where they won last year. They beat the Chiefs this year, and they're going up against an injured Patrick Mahomes. I love the Bengals' chances here, and they have to be feeling incredibly confident. Now, the offensive line does give me some concerns, but it's just the balance of the team. The red zone defense is good. They can contend with the weapons of the Chiefs, and I just really like the Bengals right now. Just as a team, the momentum seems like it is completely in their favor, and they are not going to flinch in the moment. And I'm not saying the Chiefs will because, they're a good football team, but the Bengals just seem a bit different. They don't have to be super duper flashy because they showed they could just move the ball down the field efficiently, whether it's the snow, the rain, or perfect weather, they can do it. So because of that, I'm going to put the Bengals at number 1 because I just think that they are one of the most confident, if not the most confident and battle-tested team left in the postseason. So to recap, at number 1, you got the Bengals, 2, you got the Eagles, 3, the 49ers, and 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How would you rank these 4 teams? Let me know. You guys tell me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.